For months, I've been talking about a period of respite, meaning that the shelves were going to get full again. Things are going to look like they are okay. But this is what I would call a dead cat bounce, meaning that it won't last forever and the downward trend that we've been experiencing will continue. So take advantage of this time while you still can. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever I go shopping, and it's not specifically for a payday prep, let's say, I'll get one or two prepping items that I see here or there, and then I just leave them in the back of my truck until it's a pretty good amount, and then I put it all away all together at the same time. And what I'm laying out here is probably 1 or 2 months worth of stuff that I thought I'd share with you as I put it away. And although I believe in preserving wealth and precious metals, you all know that by now, I think that during a SHTF, for a lack of a better term, food, water, first aid, self-defense, and stuff rules, ladies and gentlemen. We're headed towards a Great Depression, in my opinion. And although the shelves are full now from the backlog of things that we had waiting at ports, they're not going to be full for long. So take advantage of the full shelves now. Look ahead and think to yourself, what am I going to need a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now? And if you can afford it, what I would do is I would go out there and get it. Now, some of these things are not things that you have to have, but the easier I can make life during a stressful situation, the better. I didn't know that Costco had their own brand of vacuum seal bags until I ran across these, and at a great price. This box was $19.99, and it comes with 7 rolls altogether and 51-gallon size bags. And ladies and gentlemen, this is something that I will always have an use for. And as you can see here, I got a couple of cases of Mobil 1 5W30, which is a full synthetic oil, and this is the high mileage. This was on sale for $29.99, and you can't find this cheaper anywhere else. And of course, I had to get these shop towels, which were on sale. And I think you've actually seen these on one of my previous payday preps, but it was just laying in the back of my truck. And you can't ever go wrong with having shop towels, ladies and gentlemen. You can use these for so many different things. Now, these boots were a great deal. My wife found these on Facebook Marketplace, and they actually are my size. They're Rockies, and I only paid 20 bucks for these. Now, those of you that know anything about Rockies, you know that they're a pretty good brand, last a long time. And you know what? Even if I never use these will make a great barter item. Now, this 25-pound bag of long grain rice I've had for quite a while in my truck. It's not the same bag that I've been doing an experiment with for the last 2.5 years that I've just left in my truck to see how it works out with the extreme temperatures. But this bag I'll be putting away today and be showing you the 4.5-gallon size Mylar bag that I found, that I told you about during our last live stream. It's perfect for a 25-pound bag of rice, so I'll be showing you that later on in the video. And as you can see here, I came across some of these gamma lids, which are awesome to have. I haven't been able to find them, but we actually had to go to Home Depot to order something for a friend a while back, and we came across these, so I grabbed 5 of them. They're still at a pretty decent price, less than $10 for each of these, which is about the going rate that they used to be before. And as you can see, all this is just a lid that you can put on a 5-gallon bucket that you can take off and put on without having to break the seal. These are just some extra 4x4 brackets that I purchased for some future projects. Now, these are the ones that you've seen me use when I was putting up my small fuel shed that I'm working on. Now, as I've mentioned before, ladies and gentlemen, I like variety in my preps. So my wife picked up this Peak Refuel freeze-dried biscuits and gravy, and I decided to go ahead and pick up one of their buckets. Now, I decided to purchase it though to do an experiment with it and place it next to my nutrient survival that I have under my tent to see how long we can let it go through the weather in the winter and the summer, trying a pack or 2 every year or so to see if it will stay good in the extreme weather. And of course, as you know, we cannot have enough power cords. This was a power cord. They were on sale. We grabbed 2 of them. I'm actually using one right now, but this one is going to go in the storage shed. This is a nice heavy-duty power cord, which is really nice. And this here, ladies and gentlemen, these are the water filter cartridges for that system that I reviewed not too long ago. It is a great system, and these cartridges are actually a pretty good price. They only come in at about $10.50 a piece. And although the owner's manual tells you that you should discard the cartridges whenever you get a ppm reading of 6 or more, I believe that these cartridges will be good till at least 50 ppms on your meters. And the reason for that is because if you go buy a bottle of water, you're going to, at a minimum, you'll get 50 ppm. So I'm very comfortable using these for about 100 gallons of water, but that's not bad. $10.50 for 100 gallons of really clean water. Can't beat that. And here you can see this is the Yeti that I purchased during our trip to REI. We're actually going to use this for a little 3-day vacation that we're going to be going on here pretty soon. And I had to get this jet boil system because I've been looking at it for a while, and I was able to get this for about 25% off. Also, we got some of this all-natural insect repellent. We'll see how it works. I'll let you all know how it works because definitely it's something that we need here. And this is just some weed whacker string that I picked up during the winter and threw in the back of my truck. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the reason that you hear me voicing over most of this video is because the Jets decided to come out today and they were making too much noise for me to keep stopping and starting the video. But what you see me doing here is I collect these 1-pound butane cylinders. I buy them 4 or 5 at a time or however many I can get. And then whenever I have a total of 14, I go ahead and put them in one of these plastic totes because it holds 14 perfectly. Now, I've been buying these normally at Sportsman's Warehouse for $9.99 per, which I thought was a pretty good deal. But when I went to REI, not was I only able to find the cans of butane that go to those little stoves that you've seen me review in the past, but they're a lot cheaper. This can right here that you're looking at was only $2.50, and I probably shouldn't have said that here because now I know that all of my Fairbanks brothers and sisters are going to be headed over to REI to get these, because $2.50 per can, great deal, whereas I was paying, I think, $4.99 or $5.99 for the other cans that I was getting at Sportsman's Warehouse. Now, I love Sportsman's Warehouse, but business is business. I also picked up some of these Zippo lighter fuel that I couldn't find anywhere. I found one of these at Walmart a few months ago for like $5. They had a whole bunch of these at REI for $3 per can. So I stocked up on like 5 of those small cans, which is great. I normally use those for my winter hand warmers, and it works great, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure if you've seen it or not, the Zippo hand warmer that uses this Zippo lighter fuel, it works great. I also was able to pick me up a fancy little spoon. You can see there it's got a polished top. Little Miss Alaska Prepper is going to be jealous of that one, I'll tell you right now. But one of the best deals that I got was at REI, where they sell the same size butane canisters, the 8-ounce butane canisters. And ladies and gentlemen, these were only $8.19 a piece, and they don't even have a limit on them. So I went ahead and grabbed 4 of the jet boil, and I also ended up grabbing, I think, 4 or 6, something like that, of the MSR brand, because they only had 4 jet boils, and I wanted to try out the MSR brand in this size. I've tried it out in the smaller containers, and I wasn't 100% happy with it, but for $8.19, man, that's such a good deal that I'm glad that I went to REI, because that's where I'm going to be buying my butane fuel from now on. Now all we have left to do is to pack this up on my sled, and then we'll bring it back to the tent and put it away. I'll give you a quick tour of what I got under my tent. It's kind of like a little hardware store, but as soon as we put this here on the sled, we're going to go ahead and show you that 4-gallon. It's either a 4-gallon or a 4.5-gallon bag. I think it's a 4-gallon bag that I'm using now to pack away my rice, and it's the perfect size, really. But let's go ahead and pack this up, and then we'll go ahead and do the rice real quick. Now, as you can see, this bag is not as big as the 5-gallon bags. I mean, the 5-gallon bags compared to this is just a lot bigger. You can see that it's just a little taller than the 5-gallon bucket, as you can see right here. And it's a lot easier to put into the 5-gallon bucket than a 5-gallon bag is. And looking at it from the top, you can tell that it doesn't fill that whole 5-gallon bucket, but it's so much easier to have it in there. And you'll see what I mean once I put this rice in there, that is just perfect for a 25-pound bag of rice. And there is a bit of a gap in between the bag and the wall of the inside of the bucket, but I think it's just the right size. I really like these bags. The only thing I wish is that they were a little bit thicker. These are only 4.5 mils, but they are going to be protected by the bucket, so it should be okay. Let's go ahead and finish filling it up. And like I told you, ladies and gentlemen, this took that 25-pound bag of rice perfectly. As you can see here, I'm using a 2000 cc oxygen absorber to throw in there. And everyone has a different method on how to seal these. I've been using the same method ever since I started putting away rice in 5-gallon buckets. And that's just a piece of wood or a piece of cardboard and an iron. And as you can see here, it works just fine. And this is what it looks like after the oxygen absorber has done its work. The bag will actually shrink in on itself. This is one that I did a few days ago, and it only took less than 24 hours really for it to shrink. But look at that. There's still plenty of room in here. Some may say that I'm wasting room, but I really like the way that this works out, and I know that this bag is 25 pounds of rice. For me, that's perfect. So this is where I keep a lot of my overflow. You can see I have all of my overflow jars here. And a lot of my tools as well. This here is my Apocalypse wood stove. This is if I failed to put one in before the apocalypse, ladies and gentlemen. This will heat my home. Got my weed whacker here. I got some accessories for a chainsaw and my backup chainsaw. This here is a couple of fuel pumps. A lot of my car parts are here. There's some oil over there. I've got more car parts down here. I still do have some empty space here. Some empty space up there. I have to cover this up with plastic because in the winter time this tent will sweat. So whenever the temperature changes to the bottom or to the downside, it sweats a little bit, so I make sure I cover everything. I don't care about covering the mason jars because those, they're not going to get ruined if they get wet. But here's where I keep my butane and my butane stoves. And this, ladies and gentlemen, look, this is all over time. This is buying 3 or 4 here and there, and then just putting them in there. And then whenever one of these here gets full, I put the lid on and it's good to go. And this right here is my nutrient survival test that I'm doing. For those of you that have been with me for, I think, about 8 or 9 months at least, we put this box of nutrient survival in the number 10 cans here. So they made it in here through the entire winter. I'm going to go ahead and open one of those cans up once it hits the 1 year mark. I think that's going to be here in the next few months. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing with this peak. I'm going to put this peak in here. And I have this video as my reference point. But I'm going to put that peak in there. And a year from now, we'll go ahead and open one of those up and see how it's done through warm and through cold, extreme cold weather. This tent in here, when it's really warm outside, and for us like 75 to 80 degrees is really warm, this tent will probably get about 15 degrees hotter. So it's not ideal for storing, you know, long-term food storage. And that's exactly why I put these in here, the nutrient survival there. Now I'm going to start storing my excess rice in 5-gallon buckets. I'm going to start storing them outside, because I do have some rice that I'm doing a test with, and I believe this October or November, I'm going to go ahead and take it out and test it. It'll be 3 years since it's been sitting under the seat of my truck. All right, so this will be 3 years, and so far it looks good. I haven't opened the bag yet, but the bag looks just fine, and I think it's going to be just fine. So I'm pretty sure that rice and really dry products like dry beans, you know, pinto beans, black beans, will last in extreme weather. So as you can see, this is just the rest of my stuff. A lot of tools are missing right here because I'm using them right now. So usually this time of the year, this shelf will be pretty much empty. I can tell that I'm going to have to use these tools here soon as well. Here, for those of you that haven't seen, is where I keep my power cords, my plumbing. There's a whole bunch of plumbing stuff in there. Make sure that you have drain declogger, right? And then just here's our Christmas stuff. This is for our Christmas stuff. Little by little, you can build your own little warehouse full of things that you know you're going to need. These buckets here are the food grade buckets, and as you can see, I'm going to be using the gamma lids in conjunction with these buckets right here. Then of course I have some of the regular ones that I use Mylar bags with. So, and that's about it. That's all I've got in here, except for some other little pieces of junk here and there.
Hello everyone, I have here today in order to ask you one simple question. All the crazy things going on in the world, if something bad happens, if something does not go your way, and it becomes too much to take, tell me, what are you gonna do?
What you gonna do if the lights go out? If the bars on your phone go down? What you gonna do when the food in your fridge runs out? What you gonna do? Alaska Prepper has got the measure to help you make it through December. Help you prepare no matter the weather. What you gonna do?
Ladies and gentlemen, Nutrient Survival has launched an Alaska Prepper Payday Prep Bucket, and it will be available for the month of June. When you visit the page, make sure to take a look at the nutrition tool that an independent laboratory has developed, and you will see that this bucket is 17 times more nutrient dense than the top 3 leading brands of long-term freeze-dried foods. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't only partner with Nutrient Survival because they have great people, but because Nutrient Survival is the most nutrient-dense, long-term survival freeze-dried food in the market, and it tastes great. So feed your freedom with Nutrient Survival.